Today we're taking a look at Darkest Dungeon 2. This does not play like what I think most people would expect from a follow-up to Darkest Dungeon. The atmosphere is there from the first game, along with the battle mechanics. The rest of the game is completely different. Before we get into what I don't like, I do want to mention that the look and sound of the game is great. While I'm not convinced that the move to full 3D was necessary, I can appreciate trying to make the game look better, and it's a fun change to see. It doesn't hurt the aesthetic of the original game, I'm just sort of out on whether or not it helps. The narration, sound, and music for the game is all still there, and it's still very good and helps create this grim, dark atmosphere. Unfortunately, this is where the good ends and the disappointment train begins. I've been trying to check myself and say, is it really all that different, or are the surface level changes in the game making me blind to what underneath the underlying skeleton of the game is a mostly similar gameplay loop? The answer, unfortunately, I think is no. I'm not just blinding myself. If we assume each ride of the wagon is equivalent to one delve of the dungeon, it's simply a worse game. You do not get the same options to prep your inventory before exploring. Diversity of party is heavily restricted in the sense that you can only have one of each character. On top of that, there is no feeling of exploration as you navigate each of the levels. The special bond you build with your high-level characters is now gone, since there is no death of characters, just the end of your wagon run. Once you have played the game through to the point you've maxed out upgrades, I can't see there being any more fun to be had. There is also no core city or town, instead you interact with people during the wagon rides as random encounters along your path and when you get to the end stops. While the interactions were never anything important to the narrative, they did add a sense of completeness from the original game. The way these are implemented here makes the game feel incomplete. The map reminds me immediately of FTL, but even with that, FTL let you backtrack, giving you more agency to control your own path and get a sense that you were in control of your exploration. The worst part has been that I somewhat enjoyed playing the game on Steam Deck, much more so compared to sitting at my PC, but the game chews through the battery, likely due to the move to more 3D elements. It also has issues with performance. On top of that, the game doesn't have great controller support and instead leaves you stuck using the game with touchpads as cursors. While it's playable that way, I think it would definitely be off-putting for a lot of people. Unfortunately, with all that said, there is very little for me to say other than the game is painfully boring to play. Yes, the game looks and sounds fantastic, but that only helps you get in the door. If all you want is a game with the look and feel of the first Darkest Dungeon and you have no care for the gameplay, then this game may be right for you. But if you're looking for something with a similar gameplay loop with more depth, I have to recommend Shardpunk Verminfall. It's a tactics game which offers permadeath, procedural gameplay, and permanent unlockable characters and buffs similar to Darkest Dungeon 2. The gameplay feels much more engaging though. The hardest part will be getting through some of the more simple aesthetics that some people can find alienating. With that, I leave you all to dwell in the sadness as we hope for a more complete release in the series. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.